Brock Purdy in his third season, not coming off an injury, playing for a big freaking contract.
Yeah, I do. I mean, right now, I believe that Brock has got a full off season ahead of him. He's got everything in the world at his disposal as far as his teammates, the coaching staff, this being in the scheme for multiple years. Not only being in the scheme for multiple years, but bearing that out over a full season. One could even say when he came in at his rookie year that he really didn't have the full menu of what the scheme could do. Even when you get in the playoffs, you know, a lot of teams don't know you. Teams know Brock. And he actually went through the playoffs, went all the way through the Super Bowl, and played admirably, right? He didn't play his best, but he wasn't the reason why we lost that game, not even close. So right now, I could see Brock coming in and basically adding potency onto what he's already been doing as far as being a leader with the team. So there's a possibility for him to really grab this thing by the horns. And by the time it's even a question of him getting paid, there should be no question. I would see that's how Brock would want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, every year there's a player who's like going into a contract year who has a great season or a great offseason. And last year it was Ayuk. He was great in OTAs, training camp, and the regular season, and it carried over. And that's why he's going to get paid a lot of money. He just had this all-pro season, and I'm curious to see if Purdy can do that. Last year he was pretty bad in training camp. He didn't do OTAs. He didn't do mini camp, and then he was on a pitch count, and he was going against a great defense, and he was coming off an injury, and he was trying things and seeing what he could get away with and all that stuff, which was legit because he ended up playing great during the season. I'd like to see if he could take his game up another level and just light this defense up. He's seen it before. He's got a great offense around him. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what he does in training camp, but if you're trying to get that contract worth $55 million a year, you usually show up and prove it every single day like Ayuk did last year. Or Bosa has in the past. So I think that's kind of what I expect from him. I expect Purdy's gonna light it up in these practices.
Well, that's the mark of somebody that's really trying to take over, right? Like when BA came in, I mean, notwithstanding, like, all right, look, the last year that BA came in this year, you know, he was pretty much like the man in the arena. Like everybody knew that he was the guy. But before that, you saw the progression, right? Nobody was necessarily surprised, but everybody was just in awe that he put it together. And they were happy that he actually took the next step. That's what we're going to be looking for from Brock, taking the next step, right? There's other players here that we thought they could do things with this team that did not pan out. Defensive guys, offensive guys. And the problem is that one thing that you can't say, for better or for worse, with this team is that in order to be able to get on the field with this team and to get paid, you have to be consistent. You have to have something about your skill set that can be relied upon, especially by Kyle and being on that offense, right? And with being the quarterback, if Kyle can rely on Brock to be consistent and to be at a high level, to be consistent, right? Not consistently mid, but consistently good. That's exactly what Kyle has wanted. And that just leads me to something else as far as like with Kyle. Like, this is also a referendum on Kyle finally admitting the type of quarterback that he needs for this offense. Not the quarterback that he wants, okay? Not the quarterback that he can scheme the best things for, but somebody that can actually ingest his entire scheme, do what you need to do, but then also add more onto it with their own skill set in the mark of a guy like Brock Purdy. So right now, Brock getting paid is going to be significant, and it's going to signify to a lot of things that we've been waiting on this team and things that we're going to be able to see very clearly. This isn't going to be should he get paid? Shouldn't he get paid? No, like we're going to know when it's time.
Yeah, and I just think there's going to be more pressure on him this year. And he's done great under pressure his whole career. I'm just curious to see how he does under new pressure, because at first it was like make the team. And he did. And that was incredible. But there wasn't a lot of like scrutiny on him. And the next year, last year, it was like, show that you can throw a football. Show that your elbow works. So for a while, the bar's been low for him. But now he's coming off an MVP season. He was just in the Super Bowl. He played pretty well in the Super Bowl, and he's on the doorstep of getting one of the biggest contracts ever. So there's just way more scrutiny on him. The bar is higher, and I think we all expect him to rise to the occasion because that's all he's ever done in the NFL. But this is a big hurdle.
I'm glad you closed out with that, because I was going to give you a little pushback, Grant. He's
No,
done a
I'm saying
little.
I fully expect him to rise to the occasion. I'm actually looking forward to watching him do it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and me too. I'm in the same
Yeah.
camp. Like
Yeah.
he's done more than just stayed consistent. Like
Yeah.
he's been lights out through a lot of the ebbs and flows of this team. Right when the defense wasn't giving us what we needed at times, when offensively we needed Christian McCaffrey to to be consistent for us. I mean, quite honestly, if it wasn't for Brock's consistency, we would not even be able to see the issues with the team. I feel like in certain ways, one thing that Brock has in spades over any quarterback that we've seen on this team is he's been able to kind of stay out of the fray of like blaming, right? Like, oh, this was all Brock's fault, right? And in a way, his consistency has shown that the offensive line does need to get better. Do we really need Deebo Samuel, right? Oh, they had like, one thing that we notice is that everybody talks about the targets that Deebo had, right? But nobody is saying, well, Brock couldn't get him the ball. Everybody's putting it on Deebo to get open. And it's the consistency that you get from Brock where you're able to point those things out.
One more thing with Brock, I'd like to see. It's not just that he needs to play well in camp or that interceptions in camp matter. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I'd like to see him take ownership of the team. And I think it starts now. It starts with how you practice. And if you want to say it's my team, then you can't be the guy throwing 2 picks a day. Like Brandon Ayuk is too good in practice. Christian McCaffrey is too good. And I think Purdy's that good. This is going to be his team. It should be his team now. And this is his opportunity to take it right now with his performance on the practice field consistently. Show everyone that you're the man. Like, because when they won the NFC Championship, they didn't win the Super Bowl. Like, they were posing for the picture all together. He was off on the side. You know what I mean? He was like Deebo in the middle, Trent in the middle, little Brock Purdy, the quarterback, all over there. Like, nah, man, you're front and center now.
Yeah. You're the guy.
You're the guy. Show it every day.